Welcome to the Activation Podcast, brought to you by the Conscious Resistance Network. I'm your host, Derrick Broze, and every episode of this podcast, we're going to explore solutions in the areas of health, permaculture, growing your own food, technology. We'll be interviewing guests who are providing important solutions that are more important than ever in this time we are living in. The Activation Podcast is focused on bringing you cutting-edge solutions to empower humanity. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Activation Podcast. And as we always do on this podcast since we first launched, we try to focus on different solutions. In the last year and a half since I launched this, we've talked to permaculture teachers, tech experts, people exploring spirituality, people talking about how to grow your own food, just a number of different areas that I think are important to all of us, especially as we try to focus on a more holistic approach, which is very much what we try to do with the Conscious Resistance and the Activation Podcast. It's not just about growing food and storing food and permaculture, although that's a huge part, but there's also the internal struggle. There's your own spirituality. There's your own, your mental state of being. There's your physical state of being. There's your relationships. There's so much more to this. And this idea is what brings me to my guest today, because I've recently got acquainted with this gentleman, and I'm going to be a part of an event coming up in Miami that I'm excited about, because I think that from what I've seen, Jackson's approach and his team and the event is very much about trying to think holistically about solutions and how we're going to approach the coming years with everything we have on our plate that we do as a species. So please welcome Jackson Strong. How are you doing, brother?
I am stressed, blessed, and grateful for it all. And it's been a wild ride for a long time, especially a wild ride right now and bringing this event to fruition. And, like all challenges that we face, I'm seeing how it's unlocking the next level of my capacity and my ability to hold space, to hold conflict, to be able to see lots of moving parts and pieces and go forward peacefully and purposely. So overall, I'm amazed,
Wonderful.
Man. Super glad to be talking to you today, and thank you for being part of our event.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I truly meant what I said about just seeing it. From what I'm gathering, it's taking on that holistic approach. Maybe you can tell us more about that in a couple minutes. But before we do get further into the event and let everybody know all about that, and again, it's in Miami if we haven't said that yet. So if you want to come to Miami in a couple of weeks, I'll be there. But before we get to that, maybe you can, since we're still getting to know each other and maybe the audience might not be familiar with your background, maybe tell us a little bit about, some of the work you do and how you got on this journey that led to your involvement in these types of productions.
Hey, man. Yeah, thank you. So it's been a remarkable journey for me, going from kind of in the matrix, just normal world. And then at about 21, I was working with some real estate investors and met a Freemason who told me about all kinds of crazy things about the world. And I don't know why he opened up to me in the way he did. We were in a large house in Naples, Florida, and I saw his Freemason ring, and I recognized it just as a Shriner's ring. And the Shriners were a sponsor of my elementary school when I was a kid, so I recognized the symbol. And for whatever reason, he kind of took me under his wing and told me all kinds of crazy things that at the time really blew my mind and set me off on a long research kick of waking up to the powers that be and what reality is and kind of what's going on with our food system, with our medicine system, with our government system, and seeing how these different agendas are at work. And ultimately, as you said, there's the holistic approach to these problems. And thankfully, I've had a lot of amazing spiritual mentors along the way that have showed me how that these challenges are serving us, that these challenges are waking up our potential, that they are ultimately benevolent. And whether the bad guys know it or not, ultimately, they are serving the light. They are serving the good, because it's activating the people that came here to be part of the solution. And so we're creating a space with other epic people like yourself. Thank you again for all the work you've done in this regard to create solutions.
Yeah, and I think what you said there is so important. It's definitely something I've tried to emphasize over the years, which is, and it can be very difficult for people, and I think our broader communities to understand or to kind of wrestle with, and that is the idea that, the people who, whatever they are, or whatever label you want to put on they, them, etc., that they are serving a purpose, as you were pointing out there. I mean, I know, for example, that if there wasn't a they doing their things, and there wouldn't be people writing these books that I read when I was in my early 20s that helped wake me up, from this experience to that experience, right? If they weren't doing those things, then we wouldn't have the initial reaction to say, hey, I don't like that. Maybe I should pursue something different. And then you get to a point hopefully, where you're not just in a reactionary state, you start being more proactive and say, okay, well, if I don't like that, then what do I want? And how am I going to manifest that into the world? So I think it's important to recognize that ultimately I do believe on some higher plane that maybe doesn't always make sense in our physical realm, that these things are playing out the way that they are meant to be or supposed to. Everybody's playing their role one way or the other. And I'm happy to be, playing this role with people like yourself. So besides the event, you want to mention any other projects or things that you're regularly involved with that perhaps some of the audience would be interested in?
Yeah. Thank you for that. And just fully support, again, everything you just said there, and how all these things are happening on purpose. And so we shouldn't fear. We should embrace the challenges, and we should go towards the chaos, go towards the noise, and create solutions from it rather than fear it and get stuck in that reactive, stressed mode. When we go on the offense, we're actually, it seems like the more painful thing, but physiologically, mentally, in every way, it's actually much more enjoyable to go towards the problem. So kind of that aside. Aside from that, I get to work with a lot of amazing clients. I've run a marketing firm for the past 5 years or so with conscious brands and coaches, cool e-commerce companies. Last year or so, moved more into the entrepreneurial coaching work. My real passion was in tapping more into the personality and the psychology and what was holding entrepreneurs back from really sharing their greatest gifts. And the more and more that's evolved, the more and more that I'm called to be facilitating these experiences and creating events. And for the last roughly year or so, I've been the co-leader of an awesome men's group here in Miami called Pursuit of Kings. And we balance that perspective of embracing our kingly nature, embracing our potential, while still recognizing that we all still have a long way to go. Until the day I die, there'll be a lot of growth for me to bring on. So we're all pursuing our kingship. We're all pursuing excellence. And Aurea is actually an event under the corporate sponsorship of Pursuit of Kings Event Company. So that's me in a nutshell.
Very cool, man. Yeah, I definitely would love to know more about that. And I think that things like that are important. Whatever approach people want to take, when they hear things like that, like about, men's support groups or women's support groups. I've heard some people in my travel say, I don't feel like that's for me. It's not necessary. But in my experience, when you do allow yourself to maybe check your ego or just put whatever fears aside and kind of like, hey, I'm going to come into these experiences open and seeing, is there something more for me to grow from? Is there still more healing? Is there, more opportunity there? And you really humble yourself, then those opportunities do present themselves. But, it's also often can be intimidating even just to kind of go into those spaces, because it's not really the sort of thing that most of us were raised in. And as I'm sure you're well aware of, and maybe this is part of what you guys do, that we've lost so many positive ritualistic aspects of our lives, whether that's initiation to becoming men or initiation to becoming women. And a lot of these kind of experiences either don't exist, or it's sort of just like, hey, go to school and they'll teach you how to be a man, or go to sex camp and you'll learn everything you need to, or, whatever. It's like been outsourced by parents or families and communities. And I really appreciate those experiences when I see them. And is there a website for Pursuit of Kings in case somebody wants to check that out?
Yeah, thank you. And I totally agree with everything you just said there. It's pursuitofkings.com and The Pursuit of Kings on Instagram. And what you just highlighted there is really the next phase of where we're going, is Pursuit of the Prince, and looking at the boys to men rituals and seeing how that tribal truth that we all remember, and whatever form we're in currently now, as human beings, we've either reincarnated and lived as other races in the past, or it's just part of our collective genetic memory. Either way, we really, really need to connect with that ancient, ritualistic, tribally connected part of ourselves, and go out in nature and do difficult things together and be tested and see what part of our nature comes forth under the strain, under the heat, under the watchful eye of our brothers and our older brothers and our ancestors and our spirit guides. So however you relate to reality is up to each of us to decide. But going into those experiences is critical, and that's a huge reason that society is so messed up right now, is the lack of integrated, healthy men. And I don't claim to have it all figured out, but I've worked really hard to figure out a lot of difficult things. And we all need to look at our shadows, look at our egos, and see, are we lost in materialism? Are we lost in insecurity and playing too small? And how do we balance out like our primal, ferocious nature with our heart and come into a more balanced existence? So that's a lot of where we come from. Cool, man. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great work, man. I think that's so important. Well, let's go ahead. You said that so Pursuit of Kings is actually involved with the
Mhm.
conference, so that kind of is a perfect segue. I'm going to go ahead and pop the website on the screen. Just
Cool.
let's
Thank you.
just explain what this is all about to everybody. You know, what kind of person would want to come to this event?
Yeah, so it's been a little difficult to define the exact person because we have this broad range, but we've simplified it down pretty well. And for us, it's people that want to get to the next level in their lives. It's people that are really trying to get to the next level of their purpose, of their sense of self, and of what they're really meant to create here in the world. And our belief is that in order to get to that next level of doing your soul work, fulfilling your purpose in life, and doing what you're really meant to be doing, you need to fill in a few gaps. And so our 5 pillars are leadership, purpose, freedom, health, and spirituality. And so we brought in speakers that are speaking to each of those categories, and they all really overlap. I mean, it's a very broad Venn diagram of those different categories. And so, yeah, like you highlighted there, September 9th to the 11th, we're live streaming online. We'll be in Miami. And if you just don't know quite how to get to that next level of really feeling like you're doing what you're meant to be doing here on earth, get there, live stream it. Our speakers will really help you get clarity into what life is really about and how to get to that next level in your life.
I love it. And so I'm looking here at the website. So is it pronounced Aurea? Aurea?
Yeah.
How do you?
Yep. Aurea.
And so that's Latin for golden. It's really cool. And you know, I think that if we could just pick this apart for a moment while we're
Please.
talking about the event, that there are some. I mean, I always try to anticipate the sort of the skepticism among various crowds, and unfortunately in our broad communities. And when I say this community, I mean things as broad as spirituality, conscious community, conspiracy community, permaculture community, you know, community building, intentional community, just this crazy mix of people that have been coming together the last couple of years, health freedom,
Yeah.
you know, bodily autonomy, all these things that are uniting people. And it's really beautiful. Yeah. It's amazing. But there's often, you know, there's like skepticism sometimes working with people like this crowd's like, no, that's too new age for me, or that's this. And so I wonder if you could elaborate to, you know, I think you've already kind of said it, but just a little further, if you don't mind, like, what do you mean by the golden age? How does that look to you, and how do you interpret that?
Yeah, so for us, for me, for sure, I mean, for really all of the organizers, is that we see this awakening that's happening being prophesied from a lot of different cultures and a lot of different races and peoples. You have Hopi prophecies, you got the eagle and condor prophecy out of South America, you have the Christian, you know, second coming, which I believe is meant to be a corporate expression. That's meant to be all of us tapping into source and expressing a higher realm. And you could call that Jesus by any other name, really. To me, it's Christ consciousness. It's tapping into whatever heaven is, wherever we come from, whatever infinite field of knowledge that surrounds us, that made us. We're here to express that. And to me, that's pretty Christ-like. So that's the golden age to me, is us stepping into our authentic, infinite nature, doing what we're really meant to do here, stepping courageously into a new world, getting out of these parasitic systems of corporate jobs and corporate medicine and just corporate ... and really expressing our authentic nature here in life and seeing what amazing society is created through that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I always love to hear everybody's vision, because obviously each of us might have maybe we're all heading in the same direction, but you know, the details are slightly different for each of us, which I think is a part of creating a new age, right? A new world in the first place, instead of thinking that we all need to have some kind of homogenized one size fits all lifestyle, which is really what the status quo kind of tries to teach us from birth. Instead, it's like we can come together. You can have, as you describe here, transformational presentations, conscious music. We're going to have discussions, presentations, and come together with all types of people to say, like, to think about, what does that world look like for us? What does the golden age? What's the next step for humanity? And how do we consciously and proactively take a hold of that? And I'm showing, I mean, I've never been to this particular venue in Miami, but the pictures you guys have on the website look like it's a spaceship of some sort. It's amazing, man. It looks really cool. Tell us a little bit about the spot and where it's all going to be at.
Yeah, it's really unreal. It's an amazing number of synchronicities and many miracles that have even made this possible. There's another event that was going to be there that canceled, so we had to jump in on a short timeline and all kinds of cool things around that. And yeah, you see it. It's really an inspired space. Alan Faena and his former wife, Jimena, designed the space. It's truly incredible. Sacred geometry and Greek influences mixed in there. That's the VIP lounge. So anyone that wants to come hang out with epic people like yourself I invite you to the VIP experience. I have Stephen Brooks, Charles Eisenstein, Leah Wilson, iconic, brilliant badasses who are leading the next wave of a much more positive version of reality. The Centner's on there, one of the most philanthropic couples in the world, and here in Miami. There's Shay Rowbottom. She's an amazing digital marketer, really incredible, helping people get through their shame as a creator online, as a personality in the world. Sean Stone, epic teacher, epic author, son of Oliver Stone, the filmmaker, amazing guy. Josh Del Sol ran the 5G Summit. Charles Eisenstein, Kaya Lee, breathwork teacher, Mike Winter from Cordal, blockchain innovator, Jim Gale from permaculture. It's just Paul Check. I mean, God, it's Paul freaking Check. Like he's live streaming in. Slayer G. I mean, these are just like the rock star team, and I just really am in awe that this is even all happening. And huge thanks to Sayer, huge thanks to Fiona, huge thanks to all these epic people and yourself for hosting this conversation here and putting the effort to be there. It's gonna be an earthquake of consciousness, man.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be involved again. I'm looking forward to it very much. So, yeah, we just went over some of the speakers. This all can be found at aurealeaders.com. I'll put the link, of course, wherever you guys are listening at. You can find out more about it. The website it goes a little deeper into, talking about solutions. We're going to be talking about permaculture, purpose-driven entrepreneurship, leadership and research techniques. Just ancient spiritual wisdom, which I'm glad that's being incorporated as well. And then I know there's going to be some music and ecstatic dance towards the end of the event, or is this at the end of every day, or how's the other components going to be going?
Yeah. I mean, we've really focused on making sure we make this fun, for lack of a better word, and that we raise the energy and that we activate our spirit and our soul to enjoy this process and to celebrate through these potentially heavy conversations, some of them very heavy conversations, and seeing exactly how we raise ourselves into this heroic nature and celebrate together. And that's music. There's really no other way. So we'll begin, throughout, and definitely in the evenings, we'll have amazing music, dances. If you keep scrolling down, we got spiritual activations. Michelle Berlin is an incredible sound healer and yogi. Julia Grace in the middle there leads the wave, which is an amazing movement meditation, like spoken word, like really tapping into your deepest darkness and your highest light. Augustina Caminos is extraordinary, just an incredible pranic healer and yogi, and just one of the coolest people I've ever met. It's going to be so fun, guys. I hope that you all join us via live stream or there in person, hopefully.
Yeah, let's give them those details. And if somebody wants to join live stream, they're not going to be able to make it to Miami. What are the options they have?
So if you're on the site, we stream Saturday for free. So we want to get this information out there so you can live stream it all day for free. If you want to get the main stage, the amphitheater, and you saw it in the early, you don't have to scroll back up, but there's an earlier picture of the amphitheater, that big pink marble room. That's our secondary stage. So we'll have content going on actually 3 different places. We plan on having over 30 hours of footage total. That's only $97 for all of it, for access after the event. And then those are our 5 pillars. Leadership, we call it stakes there. That's like, what's at stake? Like in our lives, in the world, what's really been going on out there. That's kind of like our research. You call it conspiracy stuff as far as like what's really freaking happening. And, it's as more and more our current health situation evolves, we see that, the difference between a conspiracy and history is like 6 months. So it's just,
yeah, you got that right.
it's just unraveling in the most like tragic and beautiful way. And, we welcome with open arms anyone that's kind of waking up and that was kind of absorbed by the fear and propaganda and chaos and early on. And, now is waking up to seeing just how often we've been lied to about this whole thing. So there's the VIP experience. It's going to be amazing. You get access behind the scenes. We've got a 3-hour VIP party on Friday afternoon from 1 to 4. And then upstage access in that like UFO area. You can be up there hanging out with the VIPs all day. And then access to all of the content is included there as a recording. And then general admission, that's on sale. It's going to go through the end of the day. There's only 8 hours left for the sale. I'm going to
get this out ASAP. I'm going to post it today, so cool. You'll have time. If you're hearing this today, there's still some time.
Yeah, if you're hearing it right now, full disclosure, I'm probably going to extend that slightly. But I know the marketer in me should probably say, only 8 hours left by right now. But full disclosure, we are probably going to extend that just in case I get some hate mail about, hey, there's 3 days more. But anyway, GA is still epic. It's going to be freaking amazing. And then down there, we've got the live stream option where you can stream all of that. And again, Saturday's free. So if you just want to get on there for free, then you can do that. And it's going to be amazing, man.
Wow, this is I'm even more excited now, man, after talking to you to have been involved. Sayer G's a mutual friend. He reached out to me originally and was telling me about this and said it was something I need to be involved in. And I was telling you before, Stephen Brooks is my permaculture teacher, and Jim Gale has become a good friend in the last year. And
Jim Gale's wild, man.
Jim is amazing. He's always coming with full energy, full ready to go.
You never go full Gale, man. He is. I think he's amazing, man. His voice notes and like every communication is just like on another level, man. So Jim Gale, we haven't met in person yet, man, but you're great, man. I can't wait. Yeah, wait till you do.
You guys have put together a really solid lineup, man, and I'm excited to be a part of it. Also, Josh Del Sol, Josh and I have worked together on the 5G topic over the years, but never actually met in person, so that'll be cool. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to it, guys. I'm putting my link, my affiliate link, if you want to buy it through my link, support me, get some access to everything here, whether that's the live stream, the general admission, or if you want to go ahead and do the VIP experience. I'll be there for 4 days in Miami, hanging out with these folks, and really I'm looking forward to it. And these are the kinds of things, I have my event that's coming up next January called the Greater Reset. We need more events throughout the year that are solutions focused, right? For me, it's just so important right now to have this kind of experience, because it's not just another thing of let's come together, let's pat each other on the back of how enlightened we are, or let's come together and just party, or, not to say that there's not a time and place for those things. We do also have to have fun while we're doing this, but I love seeing this coming together with a purpose, with a mission, with intention. And then by the end of that experience, I promise you, and I haven't even been yet, but I promise you, if you come and experience these speakers, the music, all the different things that you guys are putting there and offering together, that there's a good chance for you to come away feeling like a different person, or at least maybe a renewed person, reminded of the things you already knew, right? Sometimes you're like, yeah, this is all new information, or it's things you knew. It's not new to you, but it's coming at you in a different way, or it's being presented in a different light that might, re-inspire you. So I just want to encourage everybody, if you can attend, I would love to see you in Miami. If not, I'll see you on the live stream. Anything else you want to leave us with, brother?
That's really well said. Our goal is to make this one of the best weekends of your entire life, and for you to really tap into renewed awareness, renewed courage, feeling positive, feeling powerful, feeling that whatever obstacles are present in your life, that you've got the resources within you and the resources around you spiritually, or through your network, or through your community, to create what you really desire and to go out there and build what you really desire. So I invite you to embrace that reality and to hopefully step in with us into the golden age within yourself and create it out in the world with the rest of us who are here to live our purposes and to make an amazing world. So thank you all for being part of this. Thank you, Derrick, for hosting me, and for coming out of Miami. It's going to be an amazing time, man. So thank you so much, everyone.
Absolutely. We've been talking with Jackson Strong, and I will be putting the links to all the projects he mentioned below. Guys, it's time for us to build that golden age. What's it going to look like? What's our 2030 going to look like? We get to decide. Will you own nothing and be miserable, or will you create your own vision of the future? I know what I'm aiming for, and I hope you guys will join us. Till next time, remember, you are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are free. Peace. Thank you for listening to the Activation Podcast, brought to you by the Conscious Resistance Network. You can find the archives of our show on Spotify, Pinecast, and at theconsciousresistance.com. Thanks for listening.